All right, David Ragan.
Yeah, that'll even confuse people even worse.
Let's hear from our race winner. David Ragan, he drove the number 34 Farm Ridge Ford for Front Row Motorsports and 1-2 finish today. Congratulations to owner Bob Jenkins, crew chief Jay Guy. This is David's second win in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, his first win at Talladega in the Sprint Cup Series. And David, just take us through that last green-white checker. It's kind of like the Kentucky Derby yesterday. That horse just came out of nowhere. That 34 car got through there and won this race. Tell us how you did it.
Yeah, I sure wouldn't want to line up and have to do it again. You know, when we took the green, we were running 10th, and the outside lane had always, today, had been a little bit better all day long. So got a good restart, and I don't know what happened on that first lap, but coming around, and when we took the white, I was pushing the 43, and he jumped to the outside of the 20 getting into turn 1, and I didn't want to be on the top lane, you know, going down the back straightaway. The top lane hadn't surged well enough down the back straightaway today. So the 20 car had been the class of the field all day long. Saw him right in front of me, and so I decided to stick with him. I thought that maybe we could get a good run and race for the win coming out of turn 4, but I didn't know at the time, but the 38. David Gillen was hooked to my rear bumper, and so that gave me a little extra confidence coming out of turn 2. We were probably running 4th or 5th at the time, that I could make the right moves, and I knew that he was going to stick with me. So the 99 was leading. I think he tried to block the 17, which allowed me a clean hole on the bottom. So I went low. Carl, I guess, didn't see me coming quick enough, or we had such a fast run. I was able to get position on him, and I don't know still to today, you know, how the 38 had such a good run, and he was just pushing me unbelievably through 3 and 4. And I knew once I came out of turn 4, we had enough steam that I could have made my car wide enough that we were going to make it back around to the start-finish line. So it's a huge deal for us to be sitting here right now, and makes it even more special to get a 1-2 finish. Can you believe that?
Yeah, no, it was unbelievable. Yep. It was great.
That was a great finish.
Crew Chief Jay Guy is with us. Jay, take us through today's race. Certainly was a marathon out there. You had to battle the elements. You had to do some things, I'm sure, on pit road. Just talk about the significance of today's win.
Well, I mean, it's a huge win for Front Row Motorsports and our owner, Bob Jenkins, and David, and all of our guys on the team and everybody back at the shop. I mean, today is a long day. I mean, it's a long weekend. You know, you're here at the racetrack early in the morning, and you're out late at night, and you know, with the rain delay and everything like that, everybody had to keep focused and keep to our game plan. We approached today with a game plan, and you know, we executed it, and it worked out well for us today. Obviously, we didn't end up wrecked or anything like that. So, you know, it's just a proud day for everybody, and you know, it's a great finish for Front Row, with David Gillen in second and us with a win.
Owner Bob Jenkins, congratulations on a big day here for you at Talladega. Just talk about the significance of David winning the race and also going 1-2 today at Talladega.
I'll tell you what makes it special is just the time and the effort that these guys put in these cars, and you know, there's a lot of owners out there that, you know, they get the best available driver they can get, and they're like a hired gun. But the thing that I think makes our team different than some of the rest is just that, you know, we're so close, and more than anything, we're friends. And I know I've got drivers that are capable of winning races. I've got guys at the shop that have the heart to win races. We just haven't always had the resources. And so the challenge for me is, as we build cars, is to make them better every week and put ourselves in a position to win race. And that's really what happened today. And if it hadn't been for David Ragan and David Gillen working together there at the end, we wouldn't have it. But most of all, it's just so satisfying to see that over the last 9 years, every year we've gotten a little bit better. And I felt the progress, and I knew that it was just a matter of time before we'd win one of these things.
Well, congratulations to you. We'll take questions now. We'll start over here with Jenna, and then we'll go to Tom, and then Doug, and we'll check with the press box.
Jenna Fryer, AP. Congratulations, David. And I hate to be the spoil sport right off the bat, but there's a controversy raging that I don't even know if you're aware of, where Brad Keselowski claims, I don't know if you either lined up wrong on the final restart or you changed lanes before the restart. Are you familiar with this? Do you know what he's alleging?
Yes, we were running 8th when the one to go around the caution time. And NASCAR, I guess it's standard procedure. They always go back through the running order and adjust any cars that need to be adjusted. I guess with film, maybe when the caution came out in that back straightaway wreck. And I knew that we were probably a little higher than what we should be because we were running 20th or so when that wreck happened and we made it through. So they adjusted the lineup. It was, who was the other car?
The 95.
So the 95, the 2, and then the 34. So NASCAR says that on the radio. They tell the spotters, tell the crew chiefs. And so the 95 pulls up. Well, obviously, Brad wanted to start on the outside because he knew the same thing that I knew, that the outside lane had an advantage on the restarts, but he just didn't want to listen to NASCAR. And so NASCAR, makes the call on where we line up at. And I listened to what NASCAR has to say. My spotter told me that's what they radioed on their, I guess, the NASCAR channel. The crew chief said the same thing, and Brad was just trying to snooker us and trying to get the preferred lane. And eventually he decided that he should do the right thing, and he restarted 9th, and I restarted 10th. So there's no controversy. But I'm glad you got that out, because I had that already prepared. I was ready to talk about it. Yeah, because I was mad going down the back straightaway, and I was screaming at my spotter and at Jay. I said, somebody please get NASCAR. Maybe the 2's radios weren't working well, and Brad didn't know. I mean, I'm serious. Sometimes you don't get that message relayed. It's been wet. Sometimes the radios have issues when it rains. So I thought the 2 really didn't know, but I'm sure he knew, and he was just trying to play it smooth. Well, NASCAR will set him straight eventually. They'll let him know. He might not admit it, but he knows that he lined up in the right spot, and I lined up in the right spot.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. Let's look over here. Let's go to Tom, and then Al.
Hi, guys. Congratulations. Tom Jensen from Speed.com. Bob, you're not in here very often. We don't know a lot about you. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background, a little bit about the joys and frustrations of trying to compete with nickels and dimes against teams that are doing it with bigger budgets?
When did we get nickels and dimes?
Well, yeah, I wouldn't say it's nickels and dimes, but I will say this. I've always said, in the racing graveyard, my epitaph won't be I won the most races or championships, but I want to be known as the team that did the most with the least. And every year we try to get better. We work within ourselves. The chassis we run, we build. And so, we're not able to go out and buy, products from other teams. And that's a disadvantage. But on a day like today, it really makes you feel good because the equipment that you won the race with was what you built in your own shop. And so that's what makes it so gratifying is to see, these guys that, they make less than what a top-tier team would make, but they're still at the shop doing the same thing every day, and it paid off for them today. And so for me, I'd much rather do it this way than to go out and write a check, for top-tier equipment.
Thank you.
Let's go to Al Pierce, and then we'll go up the press box. Go ahead, Al.
Yeah, David Al Pierce from Auto Week over here among the crowd. Both you and David Gilliland immediately thank God or higher power, and both of y'all have mentioned David versus Goliath. Does that make it even better when you invoke that imagery with something like what happened today?
Absolutely. It's funny. We certainly have a lot to be thankful for, and we owe what we're doing here today to God and the Lord, and we're some of the drivers, myself, David, Trevor Bain, Josh Wise, Michael McDowell, Sam Hornish Jr., some of us. Well, we get together on a weekly basis and have a little Bible study, and we try to incorporate the good word amongst the commotion that we often have on race weekends. But we're just here going through the motions and just trying to do the best we can with what we have to work with. And not only was someone watching over us on those last couple of laps, but just the whole day today. I mean, the fans that stuck it out, the NASCAR officials, the corner workers, the Air Titan and jet dryer, drivers, and I mean just everybody that made this day possible. It wasn't. It probably wasn't meant to be, but everyone had their heart set on completing 500 miles here at Talladega, and so it was special to do that. And we were in a position to give God the glory, and I'm thankful for that. And you can't do this without friends and teammates and people on your team. And I couldn't have won today's race without David. I know he wishes that he was sitting in my shoes right now, and I kind of wish that he would have had a chance to win the race too. But man, it was it was a great finish, and I'm glad that he's thankful for finishing second, and it makes it so much sweeter to get a 1-2 finish.
Let's go up to press box. Go ahead, please.
Rick Benner from Racing Today. David, a lot of veteran drivers, when they win, they talk about how much they cherish the victory because they don't ever know where they'll have another one ever again. I know you're young and all, but do you feel that way? I mean, how much do you cherish wins?
Oh, yeah, you cherish them a lot. And thanks for sticking around, Rick. I know you don't come to many of these things anymore, so glad to have a Georgia guy here. But, I won my first nationwide race here. I see you back there too, Don. I won my first nationwide race here 4 or 5 years ago, and I'm glad to get a NASCAR win. You don't want to be that guy that runs NASCAR, competes in NASCAR for a number of years, and you don't win a race. And I said, I don't want to be that guy that runs a long time and never wins a Cup race. Well, you finally get that one win in Cup, and then you think to yourself, I don't want to be that guy that just wins one Cup race. I want to win two. And so you're always, thinking about that. These wins are few and far between. I hear some of the older guys talk about it. Like Bobby Labonte, who made his 700th career start, Michael Waltrip. They say that kind of stuff. And, right now, I've already thought about Darlington and, what we're going to do next Friday when we get to Darlington and unload, and the challenge that we're going to have there in the All-Star race and stuff like that. And so, we're going to enjoy this. We're going to celebrate it. But I guarantee we're going to be at front row in the morning early. I know Jay's going to be there at 6:30 in the morning when we have our meeting, and we're going to be worried about Darlington. And so when I'm an old man and just kind of hanging out and watching these races, I'll sit back and it'll mean a lot more then than it does today.
And speaking of All-Star race, David, I was remiss in not saying that with this win today, you do qualify for the 2013 Sprint All-Star race, NASCAR Sprint All-Star race at Charlotte Motor Speedway. So congratulations to that as well. That's a big deal. That's
a big deal for our team, for our sponsors. We try to sell Front Row Motorsports, and it's tough to sell a team that, we run 15th or 20th or 25th. We're not battling for a championship, and so it's tough to do that, and that means a lot to be in our All-Star event in our sport, which I think is the best All-Star event in any of the major league sports. So feel truly blessed to be there.
Absolutely. Press box, anything else?
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. Congratulations, gentlemen. David, can you and Jay both talk about the Gen 6 car, and despite how strong you've been on restrictor plate tracks in the past, is the Generation 6 car a bit of an equalizer among the teams?
Yeah, I'll go first. It has been a little equalizer, absolutely, because it forced teams like us that generally don't go through our complete inventory over the off season. It forces us to really go through, and Bob and our team made an investment this off season to go through our chassis, upgrade some of our suspension components, stuff that other teams do on a weekly basis. We got to do at the end of the year, and I look at some of our qualifying stats, some of our running positions at the non-restrictor plate tracks this season, and we're a few spots better and a little bit more competitive this year than we were last. So absolutely, the Gen 6 car has not only provided for some outstanding races, but it has helped the Front Row Motorsports, the Tommy Baldwin Racings, the smaller teams of Sprint Cup racing be more competitive.
Let's stay upstairs for one more, then we'll come back down.
You didn't let Jay. Jay needs to add something.
Jay, answer that. My bad.
Now, I agree. The new Gen 6 car, everybody's starting in the same playing field right now, and it's a great equalizer. It's a great car. It looks great. And so far, the results on the racetrack have been, to me, a little bit surprising. But NASCAR did a great job with the Gen 6 car. And we've made our cars a little bit better, and we're certainly not contending for wins on a weekly basis or top tens even, but it's enabled us to be a little bit better than what we were in years past, and you look forward to going to Darlington.
Anything else upstairs?
Yes, sir. Nate Ryan, USA Today Sports. David, I saw your tweet yesterday about clarifying for fans that you weren't Regan Smith. I was wondering, have you checked your Twitter account today to see if they're congratulating the real winner of today's race? And do you think this race, you've won before, but do you think this might do anything to raise your profile or change your life? Or
Regan and I, we joke about that a lot. We're similar to the same age, and we're friends, but we couldn't be from the farthest part of the country. He's from upstate New York, and I'm from South Georgia. And, man, there's nothing similar about those two parts of the United States. And so we joke about that. And I was happy for Regan yesterday winning the race. And I haven't had a chance to look at my Sprint phone yet. I'm not like these other guys that carry my phone around in my pocket and in the race car. So it's back in the motorhome. The battery's probably dead, and it's probably got a lot of voicemails. So I'll look at it here in a little bit, but yeah, it might help a little bit. So I'll look forward to seeing, hopefully in a good way.
Anybody else upstairs?
That's it.
Okay, let's come back downstairs. Go ahead, Doug.
What's up, David? Captain Herb for WSB says hello, and congratulations, another Georgia boy here. Doug Turnbull, WSB Radio. You and I both are the exact same age, grew up idolizing Chipper Jones, and I know that your love of NASCAR trumps much more anything to do with the Braves right now, but what's it like winning in front of someone that you grew up rooting for and getting to kind of bring that trophy home and show him, sort of?
Yeah, the only year I loved baseball more than NASCAR was 1995 when Atlanta won the World Series. So, I talked to Chipper a little bit in the driver's meeting and just kind of, he obviously meets a lot of people, and he probably kind of knows me, but probably don't remember, and I had to remind him, hey, big fan and have enjoyed, your career over the last long time. And I watched him in AAA. He played for the Macon Braves, which aren't even in existence anymore. And we used to go up there when I was, 5, 6, 7 years old and watch a lot of those guys that were superstars for the Braves in the mid-'90s, play in Macon. So that's pretty cool. I mean, I haven't seen him. I hope he watched the race. It was a long day. But I'll definitely look him up soon. But it was cool to see Chipper here, and sometimes I felt like this off season I was going to miss him, playing third base for the Braves. But they've been doing pretty good without him. But it's good to see him here. He's a big race fan. He's a huge supporter of NASCAR, and so it's good to see Chipper here today.
Back downstairs. Other questions? Bob and Stan. Go ahead, Bob.
Bob Hocker, Sporting News. Since Bob said that he knew this day would come, I'll ask David and Jay if they thought this day would ever come.
Absolutely, we thought it would come one day, and we talked about it on the grid before the race, and even at the halfway point, we missed that first wreck, and we all had decent speed, good handling cars, no damage, and we kind of talked about, hey, this is a perfect recipe for success. We got to keep fighting and keep being smart, and you always believe that it can happen. But I don't know that I ever really practiced my victory lane speech in my head or anything. I didn't think about it that much. But absolutely, yeah, you believe in yourself, your team, and we're kind of leaders of our team, and we need to set a good example for our teammates and for our shop employees. So yeah, we've had the right attitude. We felt like that we could win at one of these speedway races or a road course or something like that. And I'm glad that we came through.
Go down here, Stan. Yeah, go ahead, Stan. Can you answer that too, please?
Yeah, I mean we've worked really hard at Front Row on our speedway program because it's a great equalizer racing at Daytona and Talladega. And, this is our chance to shine. So we always put a little extra effort into these races. And did I think when I woke up this morning that we were going to be sitting here today? No. I thought we had a good shot at being in the top 10 solidly. Last year we finished 7th and 4th. But that's last year. You can't live off what you did yesterday. But, I thought our pit crew has taken a big step forward in our team. has gotten stronger as a whole. So I thought we had a chance, but to be up here today, I'd be lying if I said, yeah, I expected to be here.
Go ahead, Stan.
Yeah, Stan Creekmore with RPMtonight.com. This is for Bob Jenkins. Bob, you all have talked about the emotional win, you know, what it does emotionally for you all to get a victory like this. How does it help you financially? When you look at those numbers, that's a pretty good purse.
Well, it always helps, but it's not, I mean, it's not while we race.
It'll be gone in a week and a half,
Yeah.
so.
Trust me, these guys know how to spend it. So, but it will help our program. There's no doubt about that. And the thing we've done is, although it's an expensive sport, we just reinvest what we make back into the sport. And so that's the only way we're going to get better. I mean, my philosophy from the beginning is, you know, in this sport you have to make your own place at the table. You know, nobody's going to give it to you. And so, you know, I've always felt like if we can go out and perform and put out a good product, then sponsorship will come, respect will come, and hopefully wins will come. And so that's kind of been our attitude, you know, all along.
Thank you.
Speaking of Chipper Jones, David, he just congratulated you on Twitter.
Thank you, Chipper. Larry
Chipper Jones. Other questions? Bob?
For David and Bob, can you talk about what this win means as far as the future of your organization? And, I mean, you're going to have to go race next week. Does this matter?
Oh, absolutely. It matters for our partners, our sponsors. You know, I think I spoke a little bit about it. It's tough to sell sponsorship, you know, for a team that's going to be 15th to 25th on average. And, you know, we have higher goals and we expect to improve, but it doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen in 1 or 2 seasons. And, you know, all of our sponsors, Peanut Patch, one of our bigger sponsors that's going to be on the car next week, CSX that was on the car last week, you know, loves travel stops on David's car this weekend. I mean, it goes so far, and, you know, I'm sure that, you know, Bob, our general manager, Jerry Freeze, can touch base on that a little bit more. But it gives them the confidence that we hadn't been telling them a story or lying to them, that we know that we're getting better, that we're working hard. They've took a chance on us, and, you know, we've worked hard and we've done what we said that we were going to do. But it does help a lot in confidence. It goes a long way for our guys that work 6 days a week, that don't get to enjoy the racetrack perks of traveling every weekend, that they have to stay at the shop and, you know, work 50, 60 hours a week building these cars. It gives them some confidence and hope, and it's a big thing. Absolutely, it's a big thing.
I think one thing I like to say, too, is, I mean, so much credit goes to David. You know, he was driving for a top-tier team. He had UPS as a sponsor. And when he left, he bought into what we were trying to do at Front Row. And the thing that I think makes him so different from a lot of other drivers is his expectations of himself and his team never changed. And he brought that to Front Row. I mean, he didn't look at it as if, hey, I'm taking a step down here. I realize I'm going to be a back marker or whatever. He continued to expect, you know, enough, you know, a lot out of himself and a lot out of his team. And I think what happened is people bought into that and they followed behind him, and we've seen the results from it. And so I don't know of too many drivers that would do that, but that's what makes it so special, is because he believes in what we're doing. It's more than just he works for me. We work together. And it's the same way with David Gilliland and Josh Weiss. The chemistry in this group is so strong that I didn't know when it would come. I just knew something special was going to come from this group of drivers.
Any further questions? Anybody? Congratulations, David. Congratulations, Jay. Congratulations, Bob. A big win here today for Front Row, and we'll see you at Darlington.
Thanks all the members of the media for sticking it out today. It was a long day. So
thanks, guys.
Thank you.